Hey, what up, everybody? So I'm coming to you this morning. Going to do the boxing schedule for the month of November. A lot of fights going on this month, guys. There's a couple huge cards, and then we got a couple that we got a few that are kind of so-so, but their top guys are champions. Making optional defenses, staying busy, so you don't want to miss it. But a lot of stuff going on DAZN. A lot of stuff going on some stuff going on ESPN Plus. So you need to make sure you're checking out these, and downloading these streaming apps, man. They're totally worth it, and you get a lot of content. So let's kick it off with this Saturday, November 2nd. We got 3 different cards coming at you. I'll kick it off with the most popular one, the Canelo versus Kovalev fight for the WBO light heavyweight title. You got Canelo moving up 2 weight classes from 160, attempting to win a world title in a 4th different weight class at 175 against Sergey Kovalev, the veteran, future Hall of Famer, 36 years old right now, a 3-time world champion, and is coming off a 10 weeks rest. So, we'll see how he holds up, see if he can take the body attack that Canelo's going to come at him with. But it should be good. That's 6 o'clock on DAZN this Saturday. The co-feature is going to see undefeated Ryan Garcia. He's on the rise at lightweight. He's a good fighter, and he's trying to make a name for himself right now. He's taking on Romero Duno, some guy who supposedly comes forward, an unknown fighter though. It's supposed to be some kind of an eliminator in the WBC that's going to move Ryan Garcia up the rankings. So, looking forward to seeing him back in action. He is a pretty solid action fighter. We're going to see what he does as a co-feature to Canelo, because this is a big spotlight right here. And then there's another fight on the undercard. It's some guy named Bakram Muratsallayev and Jorge Fortea. They're competing in a final eliminator to determine a mandatory challenger for Julian J. Rock Williams, the unified 154-pound champion, super welterweight. So I don't know either one of those guys, but considering it's a final eliminator, these guys could be in a title fight against J-Rock next year, somebody you guys actually do know. It's worth mentioning as an undercard fight. So the 4th fight, I believe, is a 118 or 115-pound fight. Decent fighters there. So not a bad card. I mean, not a total stinker of an undercard for the Canelo-Kovalev thing, but the Canelo-Kovalev fight's going to be great. You definitely want to check that fight out. I'm very much looking forward to that one. Also that day on ESPN, you got the main event. Undercard's nothing to talk about, but the main event's going to be good. You got Miguel Berchelt, WBC super featherweight champion. That's 130 pounds. He's currently my #1 fighter at 130. He's taking on former champion Jason Sosa. Sosa likes to bring it, all-action fighter. Berchelt, really solid, really good fighter. He's been at the top of this division for a couple years now. He's kind of quietly roams that division, but he's been beating top competition. Going to be a good one. Sosa never backs down. Should be a good action fight right here on ESPN. That starts at 6 o'clock on Saturday as well. And then the last card on Saturday, November 2nd, is on Fox Sports 1. And it's pretty much 2 fights worth talking about. The main event's got Brian Castano, former 154-pound champion. That's super welterweight. He's undefeated. He's returning, taking on Wale Amatoso. It's a stay busy fight for Castano, but you want to watch Castano because he's on the rise at 154. He's coming off that draw against Erislandy Lara earlier this year, a fight that he was a big underdog in, and he fought his ass off and did really well. You're going to want to check this fight out with Castano. It should be good. And then the undercard's going to see 2 former champions going at it. Former 130-pound champion Javier Fortuna is returning to 130, dropping down in weight, as he takes on former featherweight champion Jesus Cuellar, who moved up last year and got knocked out against Gervonta Davis. Fortuna's coming in the favorite. I think this is some kind of an eliminator right here at 130. So, Fortuna's a top 10 lightweight for me right now. I think he's number 8 or 9 for me at lightweight right now. So he's a solid fighter. Cuellar's not bad either. But, it's kind of past it. So we're going to see if his power or Fortuna's boxing skill is better. But it's a pretty solid co-feature right here. So make sure you're checking out Fox Sports 1. That's Saturday, November 2nd. All right, the next card is 5 days later on Thursday, November 7th. It's going to be on DAZN, and it's going to be from Japan. So I'm not sure when this fight's going to take place, but you got the finals of the World Boxing Super Series Season 2 at 118 pounds bantamweight right here. It's Nonito Donaire, the Filipino Flash. I think he's a 4 or 5 division world champion. He's been around a while, taking on the guy they call the Monster, the undefeated Naoya Inoue. This guy is a fucking stud. He has cracked the first 2 opponents easily. Donaire's kind of his first round opponent, McDonald, got hurt during their fight. He won by TKO, and then he didn't have to face. He ended up facing a replacement opponent in the semifinal, knocked his ass out real quick. So he's kind of had a nice move to the top, but he's the biggest name in the bracket. Inoue, they call him the Monster. This guy is pound for pound, moving his way up and dominating fighters. I'm looking forward to this one. Thursday, November 7th on DAZN. Check this fight out. Should be good. World Boxing Super Series Finals. Okay, 2 days later, Saturday, November 9th, we got 2 cards coming at you. First up on DAZN, you got Billy Joe Saunders, undefeated, 168 pounds, super middleweight world champion, making the first defense of his title against Marcelo Coceres. It's pretty much a stay busy fight for Billy Joe, but it's a stay busy fight ahead of what could be something big. He just signed with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. He's trying to make a name for himself and showcase himself for the first time on DAZN and look good in the fight. Should be a good one. The co-feature just got announced. Newly crowned WBC lightweight champion Devin Haney, undefeated, on the rise, very talented, very good. He's got power. He can box. He's taken on former world title challenger Peter Petrov. It's pretty much a stay busy fight for Haney, but Haney's a stud and he's looking forward to bigger fights, and I can't wait to see him. He is an all action fighter and he's talented as hell. You really want to check this DAZN card out right here. It should be good. Also that day, this is actually a card I think I'm going to go to. It's going to be on ESPN Plus, and it features Jamel Herring, the WBO super featherweight champion. That's 130 pounds. He's making the first defense of his title against mandatory challenger and undefeated Lamont Roach Jr. Should be a good kind of chess match right here. Herring's coming off his biggest win, U.S. Marine. Very good, very talented fighter. Broke into the top 10 with that latest win. And he's taking on Lamont Roach Jr. He's trying to bust himself into the top 10. So 2 guys trying to make names for themselves at 130. Should be a pretty good boxing match right here. On the undercard, you got heavyweight former world title challenger Kubrat Pulev. He's currently the mandatory #1 contender to the winner of Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua. He's staying busy while he waits for that as he takes on Rydell Booker. It's a big fight for Pulev right here. Pulev does have power and he can box, so going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to seeing him in action on the undercard as he prepares for a world title shot in 2020. Next up, we're going to jump 2 weeks to November 23rd, where we got 3 cards coming at you that day. We'll go with the biggest one first, and it's maybe the biggest fight of the month. You got undefeated WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder main eventing a Fox pay-per-view as he rematches Luis Ortiz. Huge fight right here. Can't wait to see it. The first fight in March 2018 was fucking great. It was a war. These 2 guys are hungry. They want it in the rematch. Can't wait to see it. Wilder versus Ortiz 2 on the 23rd, Fox pay-per-view. The undercard's not going to be bad. You got Leo Santa Cruz moving up to 130, trying to win a title in a 4th weight class as he takes on little-known Miguel Flores. It's for a vacant world title, the title that Gervonta Davis gave up when he moved up to 135. I don't like the opponent selection for Santa Cruz, but Santa Cruz, I do like him moving up. I do like him just seeing him in action. He's a good fighter. He's an all-action guy, so shouldn't be a bad scrap right here. He's the co-feature. And then also on that card, you got the guy I'm really looking forward to watching fight that day, undefeated Brandon Figueroa. He's on the rise. He's Omar Figueroa's little brother. He's a very talented, very good fighter. All action, just like his brother. He's defending his interim title against former champion Julio Sejas, coming off a loss to Guillermo Rigondeaux, but it was a fight he was winning. Figueroa is gonna, could be his toughest test right here. I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to see it. That fight's on Fox pay-per-view that night. You're going to have to order it, but it will be worth it. I can't wait to see that whole card on Fox pay-per-view. Wilder Ortiz, too. You don't want to miss that, guys. Also, that day on DAZN, you got 2 different cards. Earlier in the day, from the United Kingdom, you got undefeated Callum Smith, the WBA super middleweight super champion, which is 168 pounds. He's defending his title against mandatory challenger, interim champion, John Ryder, also the United Kingdom. This is pretty much a stay busy fight for Callum Smith as he looks forward to bigger things, possibly a Billy Joe Saunders showdown next year. He's going to have to look good. He's my #1 fighter at 168 pounds, guys. You do want to check him out. He won the World Boxing Super Series in 2018. He knocked out George Groves. He's a really good fighter, Callum Smith. You're gonna want to check him out. Then in the main event, or then also on DAZN that night, you got a doubleheader, Golden Boy. The main event's gonna see Andrew Cancio, the workman blue chip guy who won the world title earlier this year at 130 pounds. He's a WBA 130-pound world champion. He's making a mandatory defense of his title in a rematch against Rene Alvarado. He knocked Alvarado out back in 2016. He's going to try to prove that wasn't a fluke in this rematch. Alvarado's hungry. He's waited around all year for this mandatory shot. So, should be a pretty decent scrap right here. I'm looking forward to it. Also on the undercard, the co-feature is Suk Can, the WBA 126-pound featherweight world champion, is making the second defense of his title that he won earlier this year when he takes on undefeated Manny Robles, a top prospect. So should be decent action right here. I'm looking forward to seeing it happen. It's on DAZN on November 23rd. And then the last card of the month is on November 30th on ESPN Plus. You got a doubleheader. You got undefeated Oscar Valdez moving up to 130 pounds for his first time and taking on former world title challenger Andres Gutierrez. This is a big fight for Valdez as he becomes mandatory to Miguel Berchelt if he wins this title, the WBC world title, a big fight next year. So he needs it. Undercard's going to see former 2-division world champion Carl Frampton stay busy this year as injuries have kept him out of the ring. He's fighting for his only time this year when he takes on unknown Tyler McCreary. He's staying busy ahead of what he wants to be a world title shot next year, possibly a rematch with Josh Warrington. So a lot of action going on this month, guys. You don't want to miss it. The only weekend you free of boxing is the 16th and 17th, but everything else is on the table, so make sure you're checking it out, guys. Should be good. All right, guys, that's it. True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.